Linda and HarperAudio Australia present this unabridged recording of Highways and Byways, tall tales and short stories from the long way round, written and read by Jimmy Barnes.
Highways and Byways, written and read by Jimmy Barnes. And by the way, we are recording this book in the Southern Highlands, south of Sydney, at my home, so you might hear the odd kookaburra or someone clumping down the corridor next to us. But it's all part of the atmosphere of the stories. This is where I wrote these pages. To the love of my life, my Jane, and my beautiful children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Introduction. It seems that I always start writing after some sort of health scare raises its ugly head. I struggle with ADHD, and it's become obvious to me that unless I'm bedridden and I can't move, I have way too much on my plate to sit still long enough to write anything more than a thank you note. This time round, my calendar was suddenly cleared for months on end from late 2023 thanks to a friendly little staph infection that wanted to kill me, which led to 2 rounds of surgery, including open heart surgery. Once again, I was stuck flat on my back with a lot of time for reading, which, as it usually does, encourages me to start writing again. There's an old Scottish phrase, what's for ye will no go by ye, which basically means if something's meant to be, then it will be. So I accepted the situation, told myself I was meant to be writing, and started a new book. The title was somewhat ironic, as the only highways and byways I could visit were the ones in my head. Ever since my first memoir, Working Class Boy, reading and writing have helped me get back on my feet metaphorically, but this time it was true literally. Telling these stories provided a much-needed focus as I rebuilt my concentration and strength. Reading both inspired and consoled me, especially reading the many letters of sympathy and support I received. I'm truly grateful for all of them, and they were a timely reminder of how words can help us all heal. I soon slipped into a daily routine. Not the familiar loud rhythms of travel, sound check, gig travel that I've known since I was in my teens, but a new regime of early morning physio and exercise near our home, followed by a few hours of sitting in silence, sipping coffee and writing at my desk. I was itching to return to the rock and roll life I know best, of course, but it still felt good to get back into some kind of groove. Not surprisingly, most of the first stories I wrote involved traveling. It'd be months before I could hit the road again and reconnect face-to-face with friends, family, and fans around Australia and overseas. But in the meantime, I could at least scratch my itchy feet by reliving some of the memorable and amusing trips from years earlier. As my near-death experience gradually receded into the rearview mirror, I started to put it into perspective and find myself driven to share more obscure stories from the past I'd nearly lost. Revisiting some of the key episodes in my life in writing was my way of getting my bearings as my family and I navigated our way out of a very upsetting period. I would turn the pages in my memory to see what could be mined from them, and I'd be surprised to discover some gems I wanted to share. So many lost things were now easy to find, as if my health scare had somehow drawn those memories closer to the surface. Stories I touched on in previous books came through to me in more detail. Memories that for the first time round had left me white-knuckled, squeezing the arm of my chair and sitting staring at the pages in front of me with knots in my stomach, now opened up to me in new ways. I could see why certain moments constantly resurfaced. There was more to learn. Retracing your life in this way helps you track all the twists and turns you took to get to where you are today, revealing how they've all contributed to who you are. These routes are the highways and byways of life, the main roads and the detours, the times you knew exactly where you were going and the moments when you felt completely lost, as well as the paths you didn't realize you'd followed. Generally speaking, the highways in these stories are the parts of my life that are played out in public, the moments where things went right or wrong in ways that taught me something or made me laugh. Many of the more interesting experiences have occurred on the byways, though, in the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?